Who is to blame? Whom must we cast the blame for our misfortune? When things don't go the way we want them to go, when we fail, when our relationship doesn't succeed, when we lose our investment, who must we blame? Who is to blame for all of these sufferings, for all of these misfortunes that we experience as people and sometimes as community? When the community is dying, when the community is sick, when the community is not moving towards the right direction, whom must we blame? When we diagnose our problem correctly and we analyze and point with an unerring precision that this is where the problem is, then it means part of our problem is already solved by identifying that problem. Now, this means we cannot get it wrong as to whom to cast blame for our misfortune as a people. Now, what is the problem? Why is it necessary to look for a person to blame? Is it even a person, or is it an institution, or is it an attitude, or is it a culture? Something must be blamed. We still need to ask the question: when the community is not moving towards the right direction, when our institutions are not serving the people of the community, when the people of the community are not feeling the support of the community, when the youth of the community run away from the community the moment they get some blessings in life, they don't want to serve the community, when those who serve the community don't do that out of genuine heart but to exploit the weakness of the community, when the political class only use the community as a means to milk their cows, when you have all this culminating as characteristic of the community, then you know something is not right. Now, if something is wrong, the question is, who is to blame? Now, this is the question I want to look into today, and let's do this. Now, before I go straight into the question, I thought I might share this with you. I believe it is quite important for us to note that the current Zango is giving birth to some powerful young men. I believe it is giving birth to a generation that is taking the community to a promised land. It is taking the community and it is pushing the boundaries, and it is doing some great work that would make the community proud. I believe we are proud already, but when you have young men and women who are doing some great work that is impacting positively on the community and the image of the community, I think this is something that is worth celebrating and it is worth encouraging. I thought I might use this opportunity to bring this to your notice should you come across this piece of work. Now you might know the first person who goes on Facebook by the name Ice-T Jr. Now, his real name is Abdul Basit Abdullah. Now, I want to first and foremost extend my greetings to this great mind. He is doing some wonderful work in academics, in academia. I don't know the English, but recently he has written a book recently. Now, he calls this book Anatomy of Love from an Islamic Perspective. Now, if you know what it takes to write a book, then you know this is a man who has done some great work. In case you haven't seen it, now that is the title of the book, Anatomy of Love from an Islamic Perspective. Now, people have this twisted understanding or notion about love, and they think love usually when cited only means lust and those desires. I think he's trying to do some really deep digging about what the true essence and meaning of love is. Let me just read to you the preface of what he said in the book so you may have a taste of what he's trying to do in the book. First he says, now listen, preface. Anatomy of Love appears as a manual for comprehending love from an Islamic perspective at a time when the concept of love has been reduced to fantasy and superficial ideas. This book examines love in broader perspective through enduring and spiritual element rather than idealizing it as a transient feeling or physical attraction. In an attempt to bridge the gap between presumptions and reality, the book elucidates the clear teachings of Islam regarding love and the relationship between couples. It demonstrates how these ideas can lessen domestic abuse and the divorce rate in our societies. Now, you would straight away know that he is trying to link these love ideas to solve one of the major problem in the society, which is domestic abuse and divorce, which we know very well is a very disturbing phenomena in our communities. So I believe he's trying to say that if we have the true understanding and the input of love, then by nature of our love, we would reduce the abuse that exists in the community. Now, you may want to check out this book. It is just so magnificent. I have taken my time to look through the book. It is a great book, to be quite honest with you, and he has done a good job. And it makes you proud to know that young people are doing some great work and they are pushing the boundaries. Now, this is just the first person. Now, the second person I want to bring to your notice the great work he is doing, and he has been doing it for quite a long time, is a man that goes on Facebook by the name Kushtain Aburov Mustafa. Now, he is a motivational speaker. He has been championing the fight against drug and drug abuse. If there is a man who has dedicated a lot of time and effort going through to have a direct contact with the young men that are coming up, and this man is trying to speak to the mind, the fragile and the young and innocent mind of these young students, trying to plant a seed of discipline and awareness of the harm of drug abuse. He has been doing this for a very long time, and recently he has been going around trying to inspire the young men about the brother of the president, Ibrahim Mahama, and how they could actually use him as a mentor to push it in life. I think this is a great work. If you find someone going to your ward at the school and is telling them all these things, what he's in essence trying to do to your children is to give them the knowledge that is missing in the schools, because we learn about all these professional fields, about accounting, about mathematics. We know the intelligent things, but the ethical things and the discipline, the reality of the world is something that is lacking. But Kushtain Abrov Mustafa has been doing that work for a very long time, and I think it is a great work he's been doing. He's pushing it, and he's just doing a great job, and I just want to say that that is a good work. I mean, he must just keep doing it. Now, the third person I just want to bring to your attention, the great work she has been doing for the people of the community and the nation in general, is one that goes by the name Nuhu Alimatu Sadia Gambo. Now, you may have come across some widespread celebration of this young lady. Now, if you see that, it is not a lady who has been dancing and twerking and turning around, shaking that thing God has given her. No, she has not been doing that. We know young girls who have gone viral for all the wrong reasons, but she has gone viral for all the good reasons. Now, I'm saying this because she really deserves this, and everyone who does good work deserves some attention and accolade and support, doesn't he? Now, I believe moral support is the most important support we can give anyone. If you can't support a person financially or physically, at least you can support him morally, isn't it? Now, Halima Sadia, she has got this organization she has been running to support vulnerable and weak people, sometimes sick children. She calls it My Hereafter Project. I have not spoken to her in this regard, but I believe that is kind of a project that she has put in forth in the world to kind of give her some investment for her hereafter, isn't it? For the akhirah, something that she wants to do, but she has been noticed by the embassy of the United States, having been included in the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Now, many people might not know what this is. Let me just take a read to you the overview of what this is, so you know the kind of work she's been doing. Now, the fellowship overview, this is on the website of Mandela Washington Fellowship. He says that The Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders is the flagship program of the U.S. government Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI. Since 2014, nearly 7,200 young leaders from every country in sub-Saharan Africa have participated in the fellowship. The fellows between the age of 25 and 30 are accomplished leaders and have established record of promoting innovation and positive impact in their communities and countries. Now, you may very well know that she has made some real impact. Now, you see, if you have an impact on the life of one person, then that person you have become a hero for life. Now, she has done it for so many people. Now, she has pushed the boundaries. Now, she's doing a great job. Now, all we can say to this sister is, keep working, sister. You are making the community proud. May Allah be with all of us. All right. Now, having that said, let me circle back to the question that I want to explore today. And this is the question: who is to blame? Whom are we to blame for our misfortunes as individuals, as communities? Whom are we to blame when things are not going the way we expect it to go? I mean, you find yourself in a relationship, but then the relationship crumbles, the relationship crashes like some aeroplane and nobody survived. I mean, there are some crashes that people survive in, but when a plane crashes, we hardly find survivors. And I dare to say some of the relationship that fails today are like aeroplane crash. So no survivors, right? No survivors. You may say, no, Lehambal, people survive. I mean, we see them after relationship, they move on and then they find love. Yes. But then the same people would have wounds and traumas that have not been healed for so many years, so that the breakup of today doesn't necessarily create good people. It creates narcissistic and bitter people, sometimes people who give up in life and they give up on love entirely, so that they have not healed and they are bitter and they don't like anybody. They see every man as a devil and he sees every woman as a snake. Yeah, that is the kind of breakup we have today, so that we have very few survivors. Why is that? Why is it that relationship these days, when they crash, nobody survives? And the survival rates of the crashed relationship today are so low that when people get out of relationship, they wear these smiley faces, then you think they have survived it. No, those same people actually degenerate into some people who have closed heart, that they can't allow anyone in, so that the heartbreak has become a life break. Now, you would straight away know that there is a difference between a heartbreak and a life break. Now, when your heart is broken, it's something you can recover from. But when that heartbreak breaks your life, now that is something that is hard to recover from. That's why I say that most of these relationships, they crumble, they just crash like a plane crash, and the survivors there are very low. Why is that happening? Now, who is to blame for this phenomena? I mean, relationship, when they fail, I mean, sometimes they fail. It's part of life, isn't it? Sometimes they fail. Sometimes things don't work out. But then we recover. We survive. We live a happy life. But if you want to do ratings, then we would say the rate of survivors in any given crashed relationship in our societies today is very low, so that there is a very low survival rate, and the chunk of those crashed relationships don't leave no survivors. When people leave those crashed relationships, what they become are bitter people, narcissistic people, sinister people, people who only dig deeper into the dark side of the world. They don't see no good in life. These are the people whose life has been broken by the broken heart and the crushed relationship. Now, you would understand that this is a phenomena. Now, who is to blame for that? Now, sometimes it's not a crushed relationship, right? Now, let's circle back to our communities. Now, you and I know that when people leave a community, and straight away they start to do something good outside the community, they turn back to fight the community. Now you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the young man who has started out struggling in the community. He has been doing a good job for a very long time, but nobody gave him any attention, no support. And that is not out of lack of seeking of such support from that great young man. He has just been turned down by the community. The community failed him. He came seeking the help of the community, but the community turned its back. He did not have no support from the community. He cried alone. He shed his tears alone. He suffered in silence. But then, when you do good work, Allah is always around the corner to come to your aid. Now, this young man has done all this. And all of a sudden, Allah saw his struggle and He took him out, gave him an opening. And then he made it somewhere. Now, this young man now doesn't want to have anything to do with the community. Now, this is an analogy. It's a scenario that is so much prevalent in the community. Now, you know a man or two, you know a fella or two who have made it outside the community after he has struggled for so many years in the community. Now, some different community has managed to make him work. And now he doesn't want to help the community. And we in turn come back to say, this guy is an ingrate. He is ungrateful to the community. He doesn't even come close to the community. Do you want him to come to the community? Do you really want him to come to the community? The community support system is very weak, that it leaves good men, good young men to themselves, without shelter, without any support, not even moral support, so that the community is quick to turn its back against you at the slightest mistake. The community is so sensitive to people's mistake that they don't give people second chances, that they reject you and cast you out and condemn you to hell. And sometimes they would say you are eternally doomed and cursed by God. And it's amazing how we use these scriptures to cast people out. And then we get surprised somehow that these people go out and now they have become enemies of the community. Are you really surprised? When your community don't support them, are you really surprised? I believe I have made this video. In one of my episodes, I think I have cited this same example about how people turn against the community because the community have shown them no love, so that they don't have such help from the community. If you can't help me, at least stay away from my way. But the community will always be on your way, every single time, on your way. Now, these are people who, I don't know, for whatever reason, whether they know it or they don't know it, they just don't want you to succeed somehow. I don't know whether it is intentional or whether it is maita, ko maitani, ko zwalinci ne, ko mene, I don't understand. Ban san abin da ya saba, but community mu wani lokacin kamar ba ma son mu support mutane. Idan baka support mutum, ka dai rabu da shi yayi abin da yake so. But for some reason, community nan always yana sayawa kan hanyanka. Ya sanya kafa kan hanyanka. Inda haka yi tafiya ya sa kafa kan hanya don kai tuntube. Ban sani ba ko maita ne ko da gangan ne ko rashin sani ne ko wauta ne ko I don't know, but for some reason that has been the case of my community. So that idan mutane suka making shi outside the community, ba su dawowa suna support community nan ko su have wani love for the community. Are you kidding me? Na shi zai zo yana son community nan. Me community yau, community bai show mai love ba, alright? Community nan bai show mai tausayi ba, alright? Abinda community nan yayi shine ya kai mai suka da zarin ya ga yayi kuskure. Ya so kuma sai mu dinga muna mamaki, me yasa wani ya fita community nan ya make shi amma ba mu ganin shi cikin mu? Sabida a lokacin da ya zauna cikin kunnan ba ku show mai love ba. So a person always idolizes a person or anything that supports him in life. Now the question is, who is to blame? When people when the children of the community turn against the community, the question is, who is to blame? Who is to blame? Now there is always this criticism. No, there is always this cry, comments, and complaints that we put forth. We always vent them, like I'm trying to do now somehow, that things are not moving well in the community. Now, if you may have noticed that the airspace of the community's online space have become a laundry shop where people actually wash the dirty clothes of some of the most respected people in the community, so that we have laundry services going on online all the time. Can Facebook, can Instagram, can TikTok, wouldn't suka some to laundry services. And what are we washing on these platforms? Usually we wash the dirty clothes of some of the most respected people in the community. And then for some reason, we wonder why the young men don't support the elders. Are you kidding me? Now, ka doko pantin matanka ka wanke shi waje cikin kasuwa ka rataya. And then she ka wonder me yasa maza ke ta kallon matanka saboda ka nuna musu sizin pantin matanka, okay? Me yasa idan maza sun ga matanka suke kama hancinsu saboda da ka wanke pantin matanka nan sun ga matanka ba ta wanka. Pantin matanka nan is always dirty or somewhere. It means there has been a lot of, liquid flow and she doesn't wash her underpants. So that the atmosphere has become a laundry services where we want people to know that this man that you think is good, he is not actually good. What is the point? Okay, what is the point? Is it so we may appear bigger people? Because there are people who only seem bigger when they destroy some bigger buildings. Now, I have come across a very interesting quote. A person says, there are two kinds of people who rise to become high in the community. If you want to raise a higher building in the community, you can do that in two ways. Now, the first way is to look at the tallest building next to your building and then destroy it. Now, once it's down, your building is automatically the taller building. That is a very savage way to go. But then, if you want to do it the right way, you must keep building till you become taller than the tallest building. And it's amazing that in the community, the only way people want to appear bigger people is by destroying the big men in the community, so that the community has become a savage battlefield where people are only seeking the downfall of other people. Now, the ripple effect of this is the fact that the community does not have the respect of the young people. Now, is this even a difficult thing to understand? Now, if you have traced the pieces of what I have just said and puzzled it together, you would come to realize that the community has got lack of respect for elders and institutions, especially the religious institution, is one that is suffering a great blow right now, that people who are ought to learn from the religious institution are rather not giving their minds to the institution. Now, the question still remains, who is to blame? Now we have like the chieftains, akwai masarautan mu na Zango, and then we are all still complaining, me yasa yara ba sa girmama manya na zamanin nan a cikin unguwannin mu. Now the question is, who is to blame? Because we always have to find the problem. Who is to blame? Now we always say that people are not supporting the community. The moment they make something, they do something outside the community, they don't want to come back to serve the community. Basuda wants to serve the community. What they do is to rub it on the face of the community. They went outside the community, they made some money. When they come back, they are wearing gold chains, gold watches, watches. They are wearing big three pieces. Sun sa manya kaya gezina and sa maka shades, arika maka bag, Gucci and all of that. Not to impress, but to rub it on the face of the community. Now the question is, who is to blame? There is something about politics as well, but I don't want to go deep into it. Okay, now let's think about this, right? Who is to blame then? Who is to blame? Ali, who is to blame? You have been talking a lot about what's wrong here. You see, you might have said this as well, just as I did so many years ago when I started doing my graphic design work. People would want you to do it for them for free. And when you do something good and put it on the social media looking for support, you don't find any. But the moment you get your nudes out, then you find thousands of people sharing it for people to see your nudity. So the community would rather share your nakedness to the world rather than share your strength and your passion and purpose and goal to the world. Now, if you ask me who is to blame, I would say this, right? In case you have not seen this, if you jump on Netflix, they have made this movie, this film about the catastrophe, I would call it. You know, this Ocean Gate saga. Some few years ago, or a couple of years ago, the owner of the company Ocean Gate was trying to build a submersive kind of a ship that takes people all the way down to the bottom of the sea to find the Titanic. Now, he has failed, and he had brought on board some very good people, rich people as well. Unfortunately, the tragedy happened and they all got imploded in that mission and they all lost their lives. Now, Netflix has investigated and they have brought it forward to the world to see what really happened. And it so happened that that guy really did not get everything he needed to get to take that risk. Basically, he shouldn't have done that. But then he did that and it cost his life and the life of the people he went. Now, here's what you should know. His top engineers and pilots, people who are in the best position to advise him as to whether to do it or not, they all left the company. Now, the question is why? Because he was such a person who wouldn't take criticism, constructive criticism, or such advice and concerns from his employees. You may call him a narcissistic kind of boss, so that when you confront him with a reasoned issue or a risk that is worth considering, he would fire you. He doesn't like that. And due to that, many of his top people left the company. And that happened afterwards. Now, one of his top engineers, when he was asked why at the end of the whole thing, he said it was a failure of the culture. Now, he didn't say a lot, but when you talk about a failure of a culture, then you are talking about things that people take to be a normal. Now, you may have to check out this book that I read, written by this Matej Gabor. It's called The Myth of Normal. The Myth of Normal is looking deep into how people have normalized things that are not normal, so that the community has normalized things that are not normal, and those things are killing the spirit of the community. And if you may ask me, I would say it is a culture that we have created and built in the community that is causing all this. So if you want to cast blame on anything, sometimes it's not a person, it's not one person. Many people would benefit or exploit an existing culture. Now, culture is a very difficult thing to fight. You would know that. A few years ago, I started work at a company. Now, I did not understand the culture of the work environment. You should understand every work or every company has got a culture. It may be in the same industry, but every company has got different culture. Now, the culture is just the way people do things. So the moment you walk into any company and the way things are done is simply the culture. Now, one person may have started it and then it became uncontrollable. And then anybody who comes in the company get affected by that culture. Now, I started work in this company. Now, there was this guy. He was a very, very toxic kind of guy, I'm afraid. But that is the kind of nature I have perceived of him. I tried to do things the way I think is right. But I did not realize that I was not going against that one single person. I was going against the culture of the whole company. And that culture became something that was really, really difficult and weighty on me. You don't want to be in a very wrong culture, at a place where the culture is toxic. Toxic culture is the most difficult thing. It may suffocate you to death sometimes. So that any culture is a difficult thing to fight. And if you are in there, there are people who would benefit from the culture and there are people who will exploit the culture. Now, I'm talking about this is because, see, we have a culture in our communities, right? And that is the culture that has intoxicated the whole thing. Now, I want to ask you this question. If you want to blame anybody, perhaps you should think about the question I want to ask you now. What is it that we reward? And what is it that we punish? People always go for what is rewarding, and they would always run away from what is punishable. That is just a basic thing. We should know this. You are a smart person. You should know this. What pays well and what doesn't pay? Okay, let's look at it. In our community, when people do good work, they are not noticed. Sometimes they are criticized. Sometimes they are casted out. Sometimes they are not given a chance. They don't get the support. I had a friend who always say this. He is a wise man. He knows that. He says, look, whenever I make a post about my work, nobody likes it. But the moment I say something stupid, everybody is sharing it. Now you see the secret. People don't care about your good work. No. But guess what? That is the culture. Because at least I have seen the benefit of a community that is supporting people, whatever they try to do. And community is a very strong thing. Now you know this, you may know this. If you have ever tried to do something good, now you would straight away come to the reality that the community would not support your work, but they would support you to do stupid things. And that, my friend, is the culture. So the reward system that the culture has set in place is a system that rewards negativity and punishes positivity. When you go live, trying to talk to people, start something. You think you are a nice guy. Oh, you think you are the wise guy. Come on, froko tafiyanka wurin na waze kulaka. Ana neman wani gulma ne ai. Ana neman wani blogger ne fito ya so mazagin wani malami. Yeah, share. Like. Comment. Yeah, fire. And because we reward insult and we reward character assassinations, do you still wonder why we have the majority of our bloggers doing that? It is because that is where the reward is. So if you reward things, do not blame people for going for your reward. Oh, okay. You are the wise man, right? You are the wise man. Kai ne mai hankali ko? Da aka zo kai dinga yi wa mutane maganganun hankali. No. Zangonci ba haka yake ba. No, zangonci ya kamata kai wani takashi. You have to add up to the voice that insult people. And then you would have people saying thumbs up. And you are the man. And that is the culture. Now, who is to blame when we don't have an educative content that are so many online? I mean, Zango, we have so many people doing wonderful things, so many positive things, educational things, okay? I mean, there is this Azak, right? They are doing ta'amulat, okay? They are doing some wonderful things online. Sometimes they come live, they educate. Do you ever even see them? No. Why? Because they are not one of those who would come online and do some nasty things to kind of, stimulate yourself, make you a bit excited. We have so many people doing so many good things. Now the question is, why do we not see them going viral? Well, perhaps it's because that's not what we want to see. We want to see people saying yaron ga wawa ne, malamin ga bai da mutunci. We want people to come out and shout at the top of their throat and lungs, whatever it is. I don't know the English, but we want people to come out and show they are the people. And then we would give them our thumbs up. Now that, my friend, is the culture. And if you have this kind of culture that pays negativity, I think we shouldn't be surprised when negativity overshadows the positivity in our community. Because that is where the payment goes to. It's simple. It is simply human nature. It is something that we can reverse. Of course it is. Well, at least that is what I think. I don't know what you think. Let's keep thinking. Inshallah, someday those thinking would manifest into some good action. May Allah make it so. Thank you very much for staying with me. Salam alaikum.